Well, it's a nice day. In fact, it's an absolutely beautiful day, and very conducive to working outdoors. So I'm just doing a bit more tinkering on the old police model here. I've not done much to it in a while, what with time, and there's been a lot going on. So one of the things, well, the next phase in the restoration was getting the bottom bracket sorted, which you may remember had the incorrect axle. I've now, through the help of somebody who has got an old catalogue, they've told me the correct part number, the correct axle is an A8. So eBay threw this up. So that's going to be most welcome, which will mean I can then refit the cranks, etc., and start making it looking like a bike again. First of all, I'm going to have to do this again, which I alluded to in one of the previous episodes, because I mean the finish there, it's with brush painting, it's not come out well. I'm going to have to redo that. I'm going to do it with a rattle can. I've took the wheel off again. That's going to need the sprocket replacing. I'll show that in just a moment. And I also wanted to grease the bearing cup inside it on the dyno hub side, because I'd flushed it out with a degreaser. Mudguard, I'll show you that now, because it was in a pretty poor state of repair. Now, most of the paint is okay on it, but the usual areas, the leading edge, etc., there, and the trailing edge have suffered quite badly from corrosion. It's hulled there, and it's very pitted on the underside, where all the water, etc., gets flung up. Now, it's got a rolled edge, you see, on these mudguards. This being the 28-inch, it's just a round curved section mudguard. The 26-inch bikes, of course, had a central ridge, which did help to strengthen them, really. It wasn't purely decorative. And at the back end here, we can see where the edge has been rolled over. Water and salt, etc., and dirt has collected in there and caused it to rust away. It's been eaten by corrosion. And there's the odd hole there as well. You can see that round hole is for the reflector, of course. A couple of dents as well, they'll bash out with careful use of a ball peen hammer, and there's the odd fracture there. But overall, for the purposes I want the bike, it's not that bad. I'm not going to do a full repaint on it. It's got the Raleigh Industries logo, the remains of a transfer, poor condition but original nevertheless. And where I mentioned somebody in the past had painted a white tail on it, well, I'm not going to reinstate that. I'm going to paint over this in black paint after I've smoothed this down. But there's another area here, you see, where the stays attach. There's a hole there. Now that should have been plugged by a weld, and it would have been. Over time, the weld has failed, and it can be a problem on these old bikes where the stays break away, and then somebody has made an improvised repair, or they've fitted new wire stays and drilled a hole with a bracket to secure them. So I will ask my friend Peter just to plug that with a weld, because I've still not bought a welding set myself yet. I've been saying I will for the last 2 years. I'll get him to do that, and then I can start making it look just a bit better. Oh yeah, and there's the I've got some fur tan here. I use cure rust for smaller areas, then this fur tan for larger areas here, you see, because I'm going to be using a goodly amount of it on this job. And here is the repaired stay, so thank you Peter for that. He's done a good job there. So that's that sorted, just ready for some paint now, protective paint. This is going to be black. The regulation for white tail, I think it was 12 square inches, that had been repealed by 1955, which is when this bike dates from. That legislation requirement had gone, so you can see there the black paint underneath. Someone's daubed that on, so it's going to be back to black. Then otherwise it's just going to be a clean up, give it a thorough clean, and a bit more fettling, mostly cosmetic stuff and painting for, you know, to preserve it for longevity, otherwise it'll just rust. And then start putting it all back together again. You got a bit of wiring to do. I know a couple of folk have asked me to do a video on these battery tubes, the DBU and FSU. You had two types, one was manually switched and the other was fully automatic. So that'll be coming up. I've not forgotten about it. So I'm going to cover the operation of them and the wiring of them, etc. Yeah, it's coming on slowly but surely. It'll certainly be done this spring and summer, because I want to get on it, riding it and enjoying it, which is what it's all about. Reaping the fruits of our labour. Dead easy to get the sprocket off. It's just on these, this was an improved design. The early ones had a screwed driver, which was quite difficult to remove. I've never actually done one of them. I've been fortunate that all my bikes are of these, where it's just this snap ring you prise out. So you've got to remember the order of things, of course. That's a dust shield, which doesn't need to come off to replace the sprocket, but I'll just show you. You can just see there, just in that gap, the ball bearings. So that's why the dust shield is important. But the sprocket, heavy duty, that is worn very badly, very hooked, so it may well have been heavy duty, but this is now making me think it's had a great deal of use. Possibly that's why the original purchaser wanted a heavy duty model, because they were going to give it a lot of use. I don't know, maybe they did a massive mileage, who knows. We'll never know, it's a mystery. The fact is that this is worn out. I bought this, it was a little harder to find because it's a slightly thicker chain, 3/16 inch off the top of my head, being a heavy duty model, so consequently sprockets aren't as easy to find. I got that, it was sold as Sturmy Archer, but I can't see any markings on it, unlike this. But this now is scrap. So I'll fit that, and then it's going to be the other side dyno hub, remove that, and there's the adjustable cone is on that side. I would just want to grease that, and then this wheel is ready for use then. So I can do all this and paint the seat stays again, and then refit the mudguard. So yeah, getting there. Obviously observing the precautions not to separate the magnets, even though I did do that once in a unit that didn't work. It wasn't generating, so I thought, well, I've nothing to lose now by separating them, so I did. And then I put them back together again, and they worked. It started generating electricity again. I just cleaned the cone up there, see. Yeah, it's alright, is that. Cupped cage bearings, sorry. Give them a clean up. Alright. A bit tarnished, but there's life in them yet. And this is as far as I'm going with it. That was the object of this exercise. Remove that cup, grease it up, clean all the rust out of it. This is after I've done it. It were a bit, well, a lot worse than it was with all the debris, so it's nice and clean. We're getting plenty of grease in there, and then just pop it back together again. And finally, I'll just put this up here for reference because it tells you the correct procedure for adjusting the bearings, which is an important consideration. Too tight is just as bad as it being too loose. So that's it for this one. I shall continue working on the bike, and there'll be another video on it as and when.